Businesses with guidance and services to create the recipe for success. The Time by Sagicor Bank is
CVM News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart NSDA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Coming up in CVM News at 7, Mona cuts security-related incidents by almost 50%. Schools hiring untrained educators to combat teacher shortage. Also in the news, National Parent-Teacher Association slams JTA for discriminatory path proposal. Later on, there will also be the business report. And in sports, 2026-27 is a schoolboy football season to launch right here in an hour.
Delve deep into the issues. We'll take you beneath the surface.
Greetings and salutations. My name is Orville Higgins and it's another edition of Fan Central.
Talking to the people at the heart of the top sporting stories. Hear from your favorite sportsmen and women and the administrators who work tirelessly to make it all happen. It's live sports talk.
I've written an entire article.
Yes.
Looking at all the major issues every Tuesday at 9 p.m. It's Fan Central.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday, courtesy of.
Seize the next IPO opportunity seamlessly with the Sagicor e-Invest.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for this Wednesday, August 26, 2026. I'm Amoy Harriet. Thank you for joining us. Up first this evening, student safety is again in focus as the University of the West Indies Mona campus prepares to welcome a new cohort of students. The university says a combination of technology, security personnel, and greater campus-wide cooperation has helped to drive down security incidents by almost 50% in the last academic year. Kevin Black reports.
The security measures at the University of the West Indies Mona campus are being strengthened ahead of the new academic year. The university says its investments in security infrastructure, surveillance, and personnel have contributed to a 48% decline in incidents over the past year. Security manager, retired Assistant Commissioner of Police, Marlon Nesbeth, says the university is also working to increase the capacity of its security teams.
There's a spend around security. A spend meaning improve infrastructure, acquisition of vehicles, infrastructure around surveillance systems, and continued spending along that line. But one of the most important things is the fostering of our campus security apparatus teams, meaning the Jamaica Constabulary Force as a major stakeholder, the contracted private security company, and the campus police who are directly employed to the University of the West Indies. So if we don't have necessarily boots on the ground in particular areas, we do have eyes across campus. And this is up 100%, 24/7, and it's being monitored at all times.
He says the students are also being encouraged to act as an additional set of eyes and report suspicious activity.
Staff, students, and other stakeholders, business entities here who play their own roles One thing we have been engaging on, and we intend to build this out. We started last semester, but we intend to build this out for this school year, is the eyes of the student across campus, because they're all across campus as they go about their businesses, to look out for anything that is strange, anything suspicious, and to report it to our monitoring station, which again is manned 24 hours per day for our various patrols.
Nesbeth is also urging students to speak up about their concerns so they can be addressed before they become bigger security issues.
One of the big issues with these students, especially first-year students coming on, is their vulnerabilities. So while they would have been advised around various issues of safety concern, where to go, where not to go, how to manage themselves across campus, and certainly off campus, that there are certain do's and don'ts. They are always advised around these. They still continue to do contrary. So we're urging students, if you have concerns in any way, even outside of security concerns, there are always opportunities for it to be addressed by the policies and the systems in place by the university.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
Meanwhile, as schools prepare to reopen on September 7, the shortage of trained teachers is putting added pressure on administrators to fill vacancies. Some schools are now turning to untrained teachers to fill the gap. Carla Ramdeen has the details.
The teacher shortage is creating a difficult balancing act for school administrators who are being forced to find alternative ways to keep classrooms staffed. Principal of Brownstown High School and second vice president of the Association of Principals and vice principal Alfred Thomas says the shortage has become so challenging that some schools have had to hire Heart Trust NTA trainees to fill some posts.
You're talking about losing experienced persons and experienced qualified trained teachers, and you have to be replacing them with persons with non-teaching experience. At the end of the day, the students have to be taught, because if the students aren't taught and the performance in the school dips, you're going to hear that nothing going on, and NEI comes in and the inspection is done, and you may hear that school is underperforming and all of that, and persons may not look at the myriad of factors. And so we have to do what we have to do.
Thomas explains that teacher shortages sometimes require schools to ask teachers from other institutions to fill in.
Sometimes we have to, use an example of math. Sometimes what we have to do is, for my school is on shift, so sometimes we have persons who would be, let's say, assigned morning shift, they go over to the afternoon shift and they do cover. So it works for us because we're on shift, and for the other schools that are on shift, but for schools who are whole day, it may be a case where you have to, because we had done this a couple years ago, where a couple of our teachers teach at whether York Castle or other schools when they have short staff, and the same thing is done with, let's say, a York Castle High that's close to us. And so that's what we have to do. Or at times we may have to employ persons who do not have the requisite qualification, because the students have to be taught.
The principal says that when the school year begins on September 7, industrial technology and the arts are expected to be among the subject areas most affected by the prevailing teacher shortage. He notes that the lack of trained educators in the classroom has persisted for approximately 3 years.
If you do a survey, you find out that a lot of schools are applying for teachers, are advertising for teachers from posts, and this has been happening for years. We have had a clear vacancy for auto mechanics that we have been advertising for the last 5 years, and we have had to be using a teacher, but not a trained teacher. We have to be using somebody as a NCTV at level 4 in auto mechanics to teach part-time.
CVM reached out to Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon for comment, but we were told she's not doing interviews at this time. The teacher shortage, however, remains. Carla Ramdeen, CVM News.
Stop it! That reaction from President of the National Parent-Teacher Association of Jamaica, NPTAJ, Stuart Jacobs, who is dismissing as discriminatory a Jamaica Teachers Association proposal to tie benefits paid to needy families under the Program of Advancement through Health and Education path to regular attendance at PTA meetings. The suggestion was put forward by JTA President Lasanya Harrison at the 62nd staging of the annual JTA conference last week Monday. The NPTAJ president is suggesting the JTA should reconsider its position. Natasha Williams has the details.
This was a controversial remark delivered by the JTA boss, Lasanya Harrison, which was met with applause from delegates of the Teachers Union.
Recent figures indicate that approximately 70% of the school-age population is enrolled on the PATH program. Question, Minister. Could a requirement therefore not be introduced for parents receiving PATH benefits to attend at least 3/4 of PTA meetings held annually in order to receive the payments? To get the PATH money, you need to show that you have attended PTA meetings.
However, President of the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica, NPTAJ, Stuart Jacobs, is dismissing the suggestion. He says the PATH program was never designed to be a ransom.
Though we have a very good relationship with the JTA, this is one area that we won't be seen eye to eye with it at all, because the PATH program was designed to assist parents who can't afford to give adequately to their children. A PTA meeting is designed to give information and to add value to the parents while their child is in the school. The PATH program was never designed to be a ransom, to be held over a parent for not attending a PTA meeting.
The NPTAJ boss added there are many valid reasons parents, including those on PATH, might not be able to attend the PTA meetings.
But there are ways in which the NPTAJ has reached our parents without them attending PTA meetings, by doing it virtually, by phone calls on matters that are considered very serious. The bulletins are sent out, memos are sent out to them from PTAs, and sometimes the PTAs do one-on-one with parents. We're not saying that parents should not come to PTA meetings. They ought to come to PTA meetings, but they must not be given a stick over their backs to say, if you don't come to the PTA meeting, your child is not going to eat lunch tomorrow morning, you're going to hold back the PATH program. PATH program and PTA meeting are not in the same sentence. They are not on the same boat.
Mr. Jacobs insists that at no time should a program designed to assist financially vulnerable families be used as a strategy to fill an auditorium with parents. He slammed the JTA boss comment as being sad and discriminatory.
It's extremely sad. Students sometimes are a bit peeved. They're reluctant sometimes to let their peers know that they're on the PATH program. You are going to now further stigmatize parents. Stop it. Think what you're doing. You're discriminating and you're isolating an entire segment of the Jamaican population. The JTA ought to reconsider their position, because the NPTAJ don't need to reconsider position. We are very strident on what we are saying. You do not hold at ransom a parent to come to a PTA meeting with a PATH program benefit. Wrong.
Natasha Williams, CVM News.
It's time now for a break, but stay with us. CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
Could I afford the mortgage? At my age, how long would the bank give me to repay?
Sometimes the answers you're looking for are right in front of you. With a Sagicor Bank intergenerational mortgage,
Mom, what?
You can join forces with any family member to own your home easier. Create more with a Sagicor Bank intergenerational mortgage.
Before the first patty is baked, they are hands that grow what we need. For Jamaica, by Jamaicans. Through every season and challenge, they built with us. They believed. To every farmer, thank you.
Turn up to 25. Turn up to 25. Could I drive out fresh in a MG ride with a staycation all inclusive flex? Yeah. I touch a million cash. Yes. Smart TV, PS5, and home upgrade.
Turn up your winnings this summer with Digicel. Sign up or switch to postpaid or Digicel Plus. Buy a SIM. Top up with 5 bills or more. Buy a 7-day plan or higher. A smartphone deal or just pay your bill. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act. Promotion period June 24 to September 5, 2026. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for terms and conditions.
Employers, once a month, you have the power to shape Jamaica's future. By paying your hard 3% contribution, you're not just contributing, you're investing in people, in skills, in our economy. Your hard contribution trains working-age Jamaicans, aligns programs with workforce needs, and secures our future. That's not just contribution, it's transformation. Contribute to heart and to your future.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7. We are continuing the news. Yet another disturbing video is making the rounds on social media, with a family alleging that poor patient care at a local hospital led to the death of their relative. By our newsroom's count, this is the 6th such case reported just this month, involving different patients at different health facilities. Now, while the circumstances surrounding each death are still being investigated, the growing number of complaints has led to renewed calls for the Health Ministry to address what one critic is describing as a crisis within the public health sector. August 5, 2026. This video went viral on social media platform TikTok.
I come down here and look upon the condition where the hospital in and the people them where they ever take care of the people them were sick. It is so heartbreaking, bro. The way they lack empathy.
2 days later, on August 7, this was the Chief Executive Officer of the Bellevue Hospital, Suzette Buchanan, live on her TikTok page.
And to see you look at my daughter in a wheelchair today and turn to her and said to her, so she asked you, the child is helpless. All you had to do was help. The child asked you to help me. Can you help to push me out of your way? Huh? Can you help to push me out? Can you help to push me aside since I ought not to be here? And Tracy Thompson said to my daughter, how you reach over here? And then to add insult to injury, she said, use your hand and push yourself over there. That is what Tracy Thompson said to my daughter.
Then, on August 14, another incident.
Kenny's done. Suffered. She suffered at the St. Bay Hospital.
Our newsroom is aware of at least 2 other incidents involving allegations of poor patient care at a local hospital this month alone, the most recent happening at the Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine. On Friday, a woman contacted our newsroom saying her husband was being mistreated at the health facility. We arranged an interview for Tuesday, but when we reached out to her Tuesday morning, we learned her husband died on Saturday. And while that was happening, another video began making the rounds on Instagram.
The healthcare system failed my dad. How is it that Kingston Public Hospital, you guys failed my dad?
Santina Salmon, the woman seen here in this video, alleges her father died at the hospital amid a shortage of beds and that the family only learnt of his death when they arrived for visiting hours. She says she has since heard dozens of similar stories on social media.
It's heartbreaking. It shows how much that the healthcare system in Jamaica is failing our people. I made a post on TikTok and like just 7 hours ago, and I have over 200 and something comments. And there are persons there that are saying they have experienced the same thing. So what is going on? Like, something is not right. I think we need answers.
I have stated in the past that it is a crisis. I have been ridiculed by the portfolio minister saying that I love to use that word. But for someone who is in touch with the operations and those who are in the trenches and being in tune with what is being said on social media and on the streets by the seekers of health at the hospital facilities, there is no other word that can be used to describe what is happening in our healthcare system other than the word crisis.
Dr. Alfred Dawes is opposition spokesman on health and a former president of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, JMDA. He says the frequency of these accounts suggests they're not isolated cases. But while acknowledging that there are serious concerns within the sector, Dr. Dawes says the focus now has to be on identifying the root causes.
Look at what is wrong with them. What is their mental health status? Why is it that they're behaving in a particular way that is inimical to their training and their initial desire to be in a field where they are caregivers? Something is happening in our healthcare system. And as it was actually a businessman who told me, the first thing to go when staff morale is low is customer service.
He also points to what he says is a lack of accountability across the health sector.
We're not going to hold any caregiver accountable if accountability does not exist across the board. And it starts at the top. There's never been a case where anyone who has presided over a scandal in the Ministry of Health or any of the regional health authorities has ever been held accountable. So if it doesn't exist at the top, why do we think that it is going to exist at the junior levels?
Now, just over a month ago, Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change Matthew Samuda sought to assure the nation of the Holness Administration's commitment to wetland conservation, citing it as having a direct role in advancing several of Jamaica's national outcomes for resilience under its Vision 2030 plans. However, Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, is now demanding answers from the government and the National Planning and Environmental Agency, NEPA, about the issuing of wetland removal permits for developments in Trelawney. The CEO argued that under the Town and Country Planning Trelawney Parish Development Order of 2013, the areas identified are zoned for conservation. Natasha Williams reports.
In a media statement issued by the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, on Tuesday, its Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, questioned whether the government's permitting decisions reflect its recognition of wetlands as an investment in Jamaica's resilience and their commitment to wetlands conservation. This, as the CEO says, JET has identified 6 permits issued by the Natural Resources Conservation Authority, NRCA, for wetland removal and development in areas in Falmouth, Trelawney, which she says were earmarked as conservation zones.
What that tells you is that conservation, if it is zoned for conservation, it's not zoned for development. We're not supposed to be putting up any structures in these areas. So we found it even more surprising. And that brings us to the question, what is the point of having these development orders? What's the point of having rules and regulations if we're going to just dismiss them and allow for developments to take place?
The environmentalist stressed that, following the devastating impact of Hurricane Melissa, investing in resilience and building back stronger can not only mean in road infrastructure and buildings.
It's also about protecting ecosystems that protect us from floodwaters, from different climate events. And so having this conversation, having this very, public discussion about resilience, about NARA, we've been having all of these discussions, and then to turn around and hear about these permits, I still think that there is a disconnect. And as the public, we really need to be calling for the government of Jamaica to address these concerns.
Dr. Rodriguez Moody notes that continued destruction of the wetlands poses a significant risk during hurricanes and even droughts. She says questions concerning the technical assessments undertaken in making this decision were sent to the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, but the agency is yet to provide a response.
No amount of restoration or fixing things is really going to give us back what we have already lost. And this is a problem. We turn around and think that we can address, we can fix anything. We can say we're going to plant a few more trees and so forth. But the reality is that we have damaged significantly several ecosystems already by this clearance. So no, we haven't received a response. We have submitted a letter asking questions. We have also submitted access to information requests trying to understand what are the conditions of the permits, but no response as yet.
However, when our news team contacted NEPA's Deputy Chief Executive Officer with responsibility for environmental management and sustainability, Anthony Mackenzie, this is what he had to say.
We have issued the permits. So we'll respond in that regard, indicating the circumstances and the considerations with respect to the granting of the permits.
Mr. Mackenzie says while he understands the concerns, he notes that full technical deliberations and considerations were conducted on all the applications.
So it goes through a process. We receive the application, it's reviewed internally. It's reviewed by an internal technical committee and then a technical committee that includes representatives from various approval agencies, and then it's ultimately reviewed and signed off by the authority.
The JET CEO says her only request is for the appropriate use of the development orders and guidelines in protecting the environment. Natasha Williams, CVM News.
Still on the environment, residents of Port Royal are becoming increasingly concerned about the impact of frequent high tides as rising seawater continues to flood sections of the community. The recurring flooding is now prompting questions about what could be contributing to the unusually high tides and whether changes to the surrounding environment are factors. Renee Gordon reports.
Environmental watchdog, the Jamaica Environment Trust, JET, recently revealed that following a discussion with the National Environmental and Planning Agency, NEPA, the flooding in Port Royal is not linked to the runway expansion at the Norman Manley International Airport, NMIA. However, Port Royal resident Robert Ricketts remained convinced the ongoing runway expansion is playing a role in the flooding being experienced in the community. He says the changes taking place in the area have raised concerns among residents who are now seeing flood waters affecting sections of the community more frequently.
We have a gutter line there, what run off the water anyway. It's full of here, sand and desert and whatever in it. So it stops the water from flow back to go back to the sea.
So are you sure that it seems to expand
that cause the flooding?
Cause the flooding?
Yeah.
You sure?
The extra flooding of the water.
Since that happened?
Since that happened, we just trying to get that extra flooding of water. The water that come here before wasn't like that.
Wasn't like that before?
No. The water almost reached to the people in place, right? It's right here.
Ricketts says the impact is being felt beyond the flooded roadways, with businesses, motorists, and other members of the community having to navigate the challenges created by the flooding. He points specifically to the disruptions experienced by businesses in the area, while noting that the residents have had to rely on alternative routes when sections of the roadway become difficult to access.
Honestly, because you come and can't go to your place and then we're there. What are you going to feel? You get me? Take growers and mostly some shop place and then we're there. But good thing, the road kind of set away. We have an next road station, we can just come there.
How long the water stay on the road?
Sometimes we stay there about 3 days. Yeah.
However, while Ricketts links the flooding to the roadway construction, resident Melvin Clays says flooding is not new to Port Royal, noting that the community has experienced similar conditions in the past.
Since this year, we call El Nino business, since that start, we are see them thing. Yeah. Well, it's just who up on the back page here, so closer to the sea, right? It come right up to the square right here, so.
Do you think that that is caused by the expansion of the airport?
No, I don't think that. I don't think that. It's not the first them dredging. Remember, the Port Authority they dredge out the whole of down so for bigger ships come in. We never had that. So what's the difference without there? No, I don't think it's not like that.
You don't think so?
No, because Port Authority do a lot of dredging, more dredging than what they was doing here.
Renee Gordon, CVM News.
All right, it's time now for a break, but stay with us. More when we come back.
Summer Bucket. This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
The time by KFC is 7:30.
KFC Summer Bucket.
Chicken, 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 mega deal, super chicken,
This KFC bucket deal has you thinking chicken. Get the summer bucket for $4,700.
Tell me, what make you feel good? Is it the sunshine on your face or a fresh, healthy start to your day? Start it right with Sunshine Cereal's Feel Good Multigrain Flakes. Choose your vibe. Oats and rice, plain or with cranberries and raisins. Wheat oat and rice, plain or with blueberries. Get yours today. Sunshine Cereal's Feel Good Multigrain Flakes. Feel good, live good, taste good.
How we play.
Welcome back. Now to some lighter news. International rap artist Cardi B and friends will headline the BZR Weekend concert at the National Stadium in October. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Olivia Babsy-Grange says this will be one of the major drivers for tourism 1 year after the most devastating disaster that hit Jamaica.
Now, BZR Weekend has grown quickly into one of the region's most anticipated live entertainment experiences. Its inaugural 2023 staging, featuring Chris Brown and friends, sold out at the National Stadium and drew fans from across Jamaica, from the Caribbean, the United States, Canada, Europe, and I can imagine come Cardi B's weekend, we should expect even that many more. So this year's edition is projected to welcome more than 50,000 patrons across its 4 days.
Let's go now to news overseas. We begin with the news in the region. At least 47 people were killed and more than 50 others kidnapped after armed men attacked a once peaceful community near Haiti's capital earlier this week. France 24 has the details. All right, we'll attempt to get that story for you in a moment, but let's now go further overseas. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has ordered an immediate search and rescue operation after gunmen abducted scores of people in a mosque attack. The attack may have been triggered by the community's request for military protection. Let's go now to Reuters for the details. And then finally, hundreds are missing and 22 people have died following floods in Nepal. China's government across the northern border have launched search and rescue efforts with major casualties in the border area of Girang. And that is what we have for you in the international segment. But let's now go to a break. We have sports on the other side.
Farmers, we know things have changed. We have less time with you on your farms and at the farm stores. But as we adjust to this new norm, know that Nutrimix will always be right here to support you. Our vets and livestock specialists are only a call away, and our supply of feed, baby chicks, and pullets are available every day. Jamaica needs you more than ever before to provide us with safe, local foods to feed our people.
Time to get this party started.